Welcome back to the Wisdom Seat podcast. I'm Bill Moriarty, and today I have for you a recording of a public talk from Anam Thubten titled The Wisdom of Meditation in Everyday Life. This includes some wonderful meditation instruction in the Dzogchen tradition. Enjoy.
Welcome, everybody. Today I had a lunch with a person not too far from here, and we had a Korean food. Perhaps many of you had a Korean food with lots of chili sauce, kimchi, and then we did a little bit of tour around the old section of the city, and so many people were walking around. Who knows, some of them look like tourists, some of them look like professional, but everyone is gone somewhere with a very specific intention and destination. And then in our spontaneous conversation, we talked about that not too many people meditate. Instead, people like to do other things, such as maybe entertainment and all other ordinary things. But many people don't meditate. That was suggested by this gentleman. He said, why don't people meditate everyday life? Then I told, well, we are still human beings. We are not perfect. We have to have a compassion towards everybody. And then he said he understands that. Of course, it would be really nice that if everybody meditates. But then when you are observing this waves of people walking on the street, going back and forth, you also kind of feel the consciousness of everybody collective. Of course, I could be wrong, but you can kind of sense what is happening in everybody's head and their conscious, not as through some kind of psychic powers, which I don't have, but just through intuition as a human being. You kind of feel that there's lots of joy, but there's also a lot of maybe conflict, maybe anxiety, stress, and so forth. You can feel that simply from just observing this energy that is everywhere. Then I have this kind of sudden thought that we can be so happy as human beings, regardless of our situation is, in most cases, if we just learned how not to get lost in our mind and our thoughts, we can be quite actually happy. We can maybe see the magic of each moment, and maybe we're able to even love everybody to a certain extent. Of course, there are going to be people we would have a hard time to love, but in general, if you walk on the street or when you just look around, maybe you feel you're able to just love the whole humanity, or maybe most of them, except some people in your life. Maybe you have a little bit of hard time to completely love with them. You might be able to have compassion towards them. And we can perhaps live with so much joy and richness in everyday life if we just know how not to get lost in our mind, and especially and our thoughts. There are lots of thoughts happening in our mind, everyday life. Thoughts actually causes everything, all our suffering, either anxiety or stress or comparison or self-doubt or self-hatred. There's so much these thoughts as well as also belief systems are very much stuck in our mind, as well as they are happening all the time in everyday life, whereas we can truly be in some sense content and happy and enjoy this very precious existence, the world and the human life. From that point of view, I think the greatest engines that we have is not so much the external conditions, but the state of mind, especially our unawareness, which means that we are totally lost in our mind, and there's no really any kind of awareness or wisdom that sees the way things are. You may have remembered this joke, supposed to be Buddhist joke. A monk was walking on the street, and then there was a street vendor. The monk asked me, "Please give me a hot dog." Then street vendor said, "How would you like to have it?" The monk said, "Make one with everything." And then when it was time for the street vendor to give back the changes, he didn't give, or she didn't give it to the monk. Monk said, "Where's my change?" Then the street vendor says, "Change comes from within." It's a great joke that you can keep telling again and again. It's one of those best jokes that you can actually keep telling again and again and never can get really tired with it, because there is so much wisdom in it. It is true that change comes from within. I think as a human being, there are many moments we are kind of happy, but there are many moments people are quite unhappy. Perhaps you notice that. Of course, I'm not referring to you. Maybe you're like the selected group, if we can say that, from your culture, who are in many ways lucky and fortunate, who most probably have a pretty good life. This is my guess. And also you're lucky enough to have the interest, curiosity, as well as also desire to explore your mind and consciousness, and to meditate, and to get into practices, spiritual practices like reflections and sadhanas. And you all have this desire to expand your consciousness as well as your heart. Because that, most probably, you are maybe the group of happy people from the regular society. This is why you are here tonight. You are all most probably wonderful meditators who look inside and who try to find a sense of a joy and the purpose of this life from within instead of always from without. But other than that, it seems in general, many human beings actually are kind of unhappy. Not all the time, but many times, each and every day, though they do have some, of course, moments of joy. And then, but we kind of tend to believe that all the change comes from outside. We believe that true happiness comes from outside, as well as also all our unhappiness, they all come from outside. And this is kind of very fundamental, primitive belief system that is very much seated, deeply rooted, not just in our consciousness, but in our brain, maybe in our body. Tantric Buddhism actually teaches that lots of our belief systems, as well as our pain and our neuroses, in Buddhism, kleshas like neuroses, such as the five poisons, the hatred, greed, delusion, they are all rooted in our body, not just consciousness, and therefore there are these powerful as well as esoteric practices in the Tibetan Buddhism, where you sometimes visualize certain syllables, like letters, either in Sanskrit or in Tibet, in different parts of your body. And these letters actually represent seeds, very old seeds, ancient seeds of anger, hatred, jealousy, fear, anxiety, and never forget the ego, the self-grasping, resentment, and then there's this whole practice through which that you try to get into your body and then to somehow let go of them, dissolve, and unblock those very old seeds of suffering that is in your body, not just in your consciousness. Therefore, this belief system, which is kind of permanent belief system, belief system that our happiness comes from outside, as well as also all our suffering and unhappiness comes from also outside too. Even though intellectually maybe people know that is not true, but almost like this belief system is so rooted in our brain and our body and our psyche that and sometimes such a belief system rules our everyday life as well as our everyday life consciousness. And this is why people I think having a lot of unhappiness, misery, anxiety, agitation, and crisis. And sometimes, of course, the crisis have a actual factor from outside. But sometimes, even without any kind of factual danger or crisis from outside, but many people feel crisis in their heart, and then people are kind of suffering secretly without even having chance to share with each other. And then we kind of think that maybe if we change, if we fix things in our life, we'll be happy. Maybe how about a kitchen counter? So you see, lots of people love to fix kitchen counter. There's a whole magazine on the kitchen counter. Perhaps you notice it, and then maybe one day you would be sitting in your dining room or in your kitchen. You look at your kitchen and you realize your kitchen counter is not that nice. Not nice as that of a neighbor that you visited a few days ago, or that everyone is having these days, the latest, the trendiest kitchen counter. And then you kind of feel a little bit depressed, or there's this contraction happens in your heart, which is like what we call sometimes in my community, the inner demon of a social comparison, that we always compare ourselves with others. That's how our ego does. Our ego compares ourselves with all these other people and their glory based on the not truth, but on the conventional value. And then somehow you decide to put some money as a project, and then maybe you'll be a little bit busy talking to all these different companies, and then they will come and finally you find the right design and then the right people who are willing to work on that project, and then someday there will be this really lovely shining kitchen counter, and we'll be really happy for a while. We feel we are on the top of the world for perhaps a few days or maybe even weeks. And then these days you can even take pictures of your new kitchen counter with your smartphone and put on your Facebook and tell everybody this is your new kitchen counter. And then maybe all your friends will give like signs of praising and congratulations, and then you'll be really happy for a while. But that happiness does not a long time. Then who knows? Maybe someday you realize that maybe you're not making money as much as somebody else is making, even though maybe you're making quite a lot of money in comparison to many people. But then you realize that there are other people who are actually making very, very little money. So in some sense, you might be really very lucky and fortunate and having all the basic need that you need. For example, I live in Northern California and travel around quite often. I live in East Bay, in San Francisco Bay Area. As you know, there's East Bay, South Bay, North Bay. There are all these different areas. I live in East Bay, nearby city of Berkeley. Then there are all these other quite, you might like to call ordinary neighborhoods and towns, and some of them are economically quite depressed, like city of Richmond, and then there are all these other nearby cities which are economically quite depressed. And then we have another county, other side of the San Rafael Bridge, Marin County. And Marin County is a very affluent. And when I go there, I feel that I'm walking is very almost like paradise. That's how I feel, because I live in East Bay. Where I live is okay, but nothing fancy like those neighborhoods in Marin County. But where I live is also in many ways, in conventional sense, maybe much safer and cleaner than many of the neighborhoods and towns in Bay Area. I live not too far from the UC Berkeley, close to the hills of Berkeley, which is very lovely. There's this giant park known as Thubten Park with all the wonderful wild nature, with lots of eucalyptus as well as a few redwoods, and there are many animals roaming freely, coyotes, turkeys, and many more. It's a really magical, extremely quiet. And then when I go to Marin County periodically, I feel that where I live is a kind of little bit too ordinary. That's how it perceives. But then, not very long time ago, somebody invited me to visit this town called Los Gatos, which is a part of the Silicon Valley. I walked around in the neighborhood in Los Altos. There are these giant houses. Thought I thought, oh, that must be hotel. And then somebody told me that's not a hotel, actually, it's someone's mansion. And then Marin County, next time when I was to Marin County looks very, very kind of ordinary. If I live in Marin County, perhaps I feel I'm living in really, really squalid dirty neighborhood. And wishing that I have enough money to move to Los Altos, live in a mansion, I can feel quite unhappy. Of course, perhaps I'm exaggerating a little bit our human habit of a social comparison, but we do all the time. This is maybe one reason that so many people are kind of discontent, unhappy, and feeling not good enough, and there's a sense of a lack of a true pure joy in the hearts of many. And this has to do with the fact that we maybe don't have so much meditation practice in everyday life. We maybe don't have some kind of spiritual practice or discipline to kind of pause and to observe our mind and our thoughts and our emotions, and to step away from them periodically, and not to completely bog down in all these experiences. And therefore, meditation is such a wonderful practice. It can be actually the true source of happiness. In the end, maybe it is only the true source of the inner happiness, joy, and peace. That's why tonight the topic is the meditation in everyday life. Thank you for reminding me of the topic of the meditation in everyday life and for tonight's talk. But first, it's like we maybe need a little bit almost some kind of sense of urgency to really meditate, realizing that there's kind of urgency in our life. So we must meditate, and it's like, sometimes when you realize that at a doctor's office that you have some serious illness, there's an urgency, there's no more complacency. You immediately have this really strong urge and feeling that you have to do something, you have to see the best doctors and go to the best hospitals. You might like to even consult with many doctors to find a remedy and healing in case if you're diagnosed with a very serious illness. Of course, this is all metaphor analogy. Please don't take literally. Hope we are all healthy. When I say if, I'm just speaking hypothetically or as an analogy. But really imagine that I was diagnosed, or I am diagnosed, if I'm diagnosed with some kind of serious illness, I won't say, okay, doctor told me I have cancer, but maybe next year I will go to see doctor again. Maybe right now I'm kind of busy. I don't have really time to go back to the doctor and to find out what's wrong with me. Immediately there will be some kind of urgency inside me that want to do something, either finding doctor or see what is happening with me, how long would I live, or is it curable or not. I would be extremely perhaps busy and diligent in finding out what is happening with me, instead of being in this kind of state of complacency by thinking, yeah, I have a serious cancer, but right now I'm busy, who knows, I have to do this and that. Maybe next year during the summer, I would do something. Maybe I go back to doctor. We won't do that, don't we? In the same way, we need some kind of almost urgency to realize that we are, or many people are living unconsciously and with unawareness. When I say unawareness, I mean that the state of mind or consciousness, there's no insight, there's no really real awareness. Instead, a state of consciousness where we are totally kind of lost, completely ruled by our own thoughts and completely ruled by our own emotions. And then we become at the mercy of our mind, at mercy of our thoughts, at the mercy of our emotions. And some of these emotions can be quite painful, destructive, as well as many of the thoughts that go through our head every day can be quite actually negative. They're not always positive. Either scientists or psychologists found out that at average level, each day, every human being goes through around 50 to 70,000 thoughts. And they also realized that many of these thoughts are quite actually negative and pessimistic. And that's why maybe there's so much kind of stress, anxiety, and that causes also emotional pain and contraction. This is why so important to have this kind of urgency, realizing that we need to meditate right away. And no time to wait, no time to lose. It would be nice if the whole humanity actually wake up with this kind of urgency to meditate in everyday life. Some spiritual teachers used to say that if every human being meditates like 10 minutes, maybe even 5 minutes, each morning the world would be totally different. The world would be much kinder, loving, and perhaps more peaceful. But that's simply, of course, just a big aspiration. We cannot expect that someday the whole world will meditate every morning 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Instead, maybe we can start to meditate for ourselves, for our family, and for our community, as well as for the entire humanity. Years ago, a friend of mine made all these free cushions. We use those free meditation cushions. She lives in Austin, Texas, and she made these really wonderful meditation cushions. And she used a very good fabric, dark maroon color, put maybe a special seeds. When you sit on that meditation cushion, extremely comfortable. And then her name was Sharon. Sharon and I started this simple project, which is to take the meditation cushions, few of them whenever I travel, use them as almost enticement or as almost some kind of spiritual candy to entice people to meditate. Then the whole deal was that if you vow to meditate every day for, I forgot, 6 months, maybe I totally forgot how long, you'll get one free meditation cushion. I used to carry maybe 1 or 2 of them when I've traveled, couldn't take more than that. But I remember that all these cushions went away. I hope everybody was meditating and keeping their promise. Just like that, it would be really inspiring if we all meditate and we're able to maybe even encourage other people, our family members, community, and society, and to meditate. Amazingly, I think United States is in many ways very much forefront in the meditation movement, whereas there are also other countries, like Asian countries, which are culturally Buddhist, but many people don't actually have a daily meditation everyday life, except the monks and the nuns. They are the ones who stay either in the forest or monastery and practice meditation. But lots of the lay people don't know how to meditate. The only Buddhist practice they do is sometimes chanting prayers and go to temple, receive blessings and offer incense, which is very wonderful thing to do. And yet lots of the lay people did not have until now the luxury or the interest or the sophistication to learn how to meditate. Whereas in the West, especially in United States, one inspiring trend we see is that the meditation is becoming so phenomenon. It's a very popular trend right now. I always tell that when I travel, even 6 or 7 years ago, when somebody asked me, what do you do? I always had a hard time to answer, what do I do? They were asking my career, which I don't have. I don't have actually career. Yeah, I didn't know what to say. If I say, oh, I teach meditation, they may find that as extremely some strange thing. And then these days, people, when they ask me what do, I tell them I go around and teach meditation. The response is really amazing. Not only that people know about meditation, but either they know somebody in their life who is meditating, or they themselves are actually meditating, or they have the interest in learning how to meditate someday when they have a more free time. That's what they say. But then there are many forms of meditation that we can practice. One popular meditation is mindfulness, which you already know. The mindfulness is not strictly Theravada Buddhist meditation, even though in our collective imagination we often think that mindfulness is just a meditation that is purely strict to or unique to Theravada Buddhist tradition, but mindfulness is taught in all Buddhist traditions, and such as in Tibetan Buddhism, it's called Tanshi. It's one of the first meditation practice you do, and then as you continue the Buddhist path, you learn even higher levels of meditation, and such as like Dzogchen meditation. Perhaps many of you are familiar with the Dzogchen meditation. Can you raise your hands if you are familiar with the Dzogchen meditation? No, that's okay. Dzogchen meditation is considered the highest form of meditation that exists in Tibetan Buddhism, and that invite you to experience really the most profound truth of who you are, your true nature that goes beyond the illusion of self, and so forth. Maybe this is a topic that we can discuss another time. Let me go back to what I'm trying to say. But meditation is becoming quite very popular in this country, which is really inspiring. I hope that it would become more and more popular as time goes by. Right now, the world has so much conflict and so much crisis in many levels. Maybe it has been like that all along, but it seems everything is very much aggravated. And I think the only place that we find peace, sanity, and true joy is actually in the realm of meditation practice. Usually I start giving a whole guidance on the meditation before the talk, but tonight we went to the talk pretty much right away. And because I'm under an assumption that all of you are quite well seasoned meditators, but there is a simple instruction on how to meditate. Basically, there are two kinds of meditation that you can learn. One is a kind of meditation with the object. Another is a meditation without object. These are the two kinds of meditation practice that we do in the Buddhist tradition, and you can also use both of them alternately. Let's talk about a little bit the meditation with the object. This is something you can do in everyday life. Actually, we did both, the meditation with the object, without the object, at our 5 days residential meditation retreat in New Jersey, which we finished yesterday morning. We have been practicing these two type of meditation alternately the whole day. We spend maybe 5 or 10 minutes on meditation with the object, and then we spend another perhaps 20 minutes or 25 minutes on meditation without object until the meditation session ended. And then we took 15 minutes break, then we went back and we did that for almost like 5 or 6 days, from morning around 7 o'clock until 9 o'clock. Not only that, we encouraged everybody to meditate pretty much throughout the day, even during breakfast or lunch break. But the meditation with the object also has a few techniques that you can apply. One of the object that you can use for meditation is your breath. This is very wonderful practice, the meditation or concentration on the breath. People, yogis, and all these meditators have been practicing the concentration on the breath for centuries and centuries, and that allow them to experience profound peace and joy, as well as even sometimes like more spiritual awakening, like transcendence, or maybe enlightenment or nirvana, or no self or emptiness, and so forth, or the interdependentness or oneness of all things, or they may wake up and realize their true nature that is completely ineffable, beyond birth and death. So anyway, the way we practice meditation on the breath is that sometimes all you need is close your eyes, so you can also leave your eyes open, and then just bring your attention to the breath and notice that you're breathing out. You can concentrate on the breath in your nostrils and notice that you're inhaling and you're exhaling, and feel the sensations traveling back and forth. Each breath accompanies with all these subtle sensations. When you inhale, there's a whole sensation that enters into your nostrils with a little bit of cooler feeling. And then when you exhale out, there's also this sensation, actually many subtle sensations. Maybe the feeling is a little bit warmer. And then sometimes you can even count your breath. When you inhale 1, 2, you can count your own breath, like in-breath, any number between 5 and 10, and then you can recount it, or you can let go of the counting and continue to concentrate on the breath. And immediately you feel that you are no longer in the state of your thinking mind. You're no longer actually stuck with your thoughts. All your thought will subside. And you feel that you are now dropping into this almost like primordial state of who you are, this pure innocence that is always there, that is always present if we are aware of it. And where there's not so much concepts or ideals or thoughts, the time stops, there's no past, future, there's no the duality or the division between self and other. There's only just this stillness and peace, silence as an absence of thoughts, absence of all this mental utterance. That's one practice that you can use as a meditation with object, or you can bring the sensations. You can bring the awareness or the attention into the body. Feel just your body. You can drop into body. Feel your body. Notice that you are here, and feel also sensations in your body. Feel the feet. Feel your leg. Feel the sensations as well as the energetic movement in your belly. Notice the moment you drop into your body completely and relax into it, pretty much lots of your thoughts will stop right there. And as well as also there's this kind of immediate relaxation and peace, as well as this sense of benevolence just takes place in your entire being. And if you are having some very strong emotions, like some of those really strong emotions, like wild emotions, it kind of subsides, it dissipates by itself. If you are worrying, that whole energy pretty much right away will subside. If you're angry, it will subside. If you are having a lot of really powerful emotions, anger or resentment, it will subside down immediately when you completely drop into your body and then bring your gentle attention to the sensations in your body. Then there are also other objects of meditation which you can use pretty much anything, not only just the sacred things like prayer or mantra. In my tradition, we use the sound of mantra as object of a meditation. We recite mantras and then rest our attention on it. Also, we visualize the mantra, the mantric syllables, either in Tibetan or Sanskrit in our heart. And then we chant the mantra and meditate on it for sometimes hours. Towards the end of the day, you feel that your whole system is purified as you took like long bath whole day. Feels really good. You know, when you take bath, feels so good when you come out. It's like all your contraction, all the spasm in your body, as well as all your energetic tightness are totally gone. And you feel that you are now a new being with a new body, at least for a while. And that's how I feel when we spend the whole day chanting and meditating on the mantras. That's another object of a meditation. But also you can use ordinary things as object of meditation. You can, like, let's say, use a flower. Maybe you can just bring a flower and rest your attention on it. Or maybe you can go outside, sit and rest your attention on something very ordinary, maybe just leaves of tree or stone or rock or a picture of a nature. Or if you have time, you can even hike and just sit somewhere in the mountain and just rest your attention on anything, trees, flowers, plants. And also you can sometimes concentrate on the sound of music too. Depend on what music you play. Some music does not actually calm your mind. There are some music that totally can disturb your mind. But there are sometimes often these wonderful musics that you can just concentrate. And there are all these meditation musics too these days. And you can concentrate on it. That is concentration on the sound. And then the second kind of meditation is meditation without object. And that is what we call often the open awareness, where you don't really have to concentrate on anything. It's very difficult sometimes to describe the meditation without object or the open awareness, because it's not like there are lots of techniques. The best way we can describe the meditation without object is using this one line as a part of the guided meditation in the Dzogchen tradition, which goes, rest in the natural state of your mind. This is quite a precious and essential line that really captures the practice of open awareness or meditation without an object in accordance with the Dzogchen tradition. One of the greatest Dzogchen master that Tibet produced is Lungchen. Most probably many of you know his name, and he wrote many books. He was a prolific writer, a truly awakened being, enlightened being. He wrote many books on the Dzogchen meditation. Today, you'll find his statues and tankas, the sacred paintings of Longchenpa at many temples. By the way, at our temple in city of Richmond, or the Pont Richmond neighborhood, there are very few statues. So we try to be a little bit simplest and minimalist. We don't bring too many sacred images and imageries to our temple. We had a very few selected statues and the tankas, the Tibetan Buddhist art. One of the statues is actually Longchenpa, because the Longchenpa statue is that he's a monk and he sit in the cross-legged posture, and then he put his hands on his knees. This is a mudra, or the sacred gesture, but the mudras, sacred gestures, has actually teaching, has a whole teaching. Maybe somebody can write a whole book on just that one sacred gesture. Some Buddhist scholar who has lots of time in her or his hand can actually write a whole book, whole volume of book on the significance of this simple gesture, the sacred gesture. I think gestures have not only have a meaning, but they have sometimes kind of immediate impact on our mind, on our consciousness. And there are some gestures that are not very sacred gestures. My friend Lama Thubten Rinpoche, who died now 6 or 7 years ago, had lots of good jokes. He was very humorous, very loving. Have you ever met with Lama Thubten Rinpoche? Oh, you met with him? Yeah, you're very lucky. But many of you have heard his name. Can you raise your hands if you heard of Lama Thubten Rinpoche? Oh, yeah, he's an amazing, amazing being. I was very lucky to meet with him in his life. And then he tells all these funny jokes when he teaches. Then one of the jokes that he would tell, he makes sometimes really wild jokes. One of the jokes he will say, well, in this country, he refers to America, you do this highway mudra. Highway mudra. You know what that means, highway mudra? So that's not a really sacred mudra, but he calls it the highway mudra. We used to laugh every time when he said, in this country, you guys do the highway mudra. Sure, you saw other people performing highway mudra. I actually witnessed highway mudra many times. Maybe not many times, a few times. Years ago, I tried to get driver's lessons. And then I was living at Anam Thubten, which is a Buddhist community, the Pema Osalang in the Santa Cruz Mountains. Somebody taught me how to drive. And then I was driving in this road very slowly. And then there was another car was behind me. And then finally this car passed by my car or that person's car while I'm driving, learning how to drive with a very slow speed. And there were these young people, and some of them gave me the highway mudra. I kind of knew what they're trying to say, but really didn't have a strong reaction anyway. I thought that was kind of funny. So this is called the highway mudra. So the mudra usually is sacred gesture, and it's sometimes important to do those mudras, sacred gestures, especially if you associate these mudras with some kind of meaning or teaching. Like if you put your hands together and you meditate, this is the bhavana mudra or the dhyana mudra, the mudra of a meditative absorption, or the mudra of a balance, the mudra of a stillness, the mudra of a resting, the mudra of the equanimity. When you start training your mind to associate these mudras with such significance and whole meaning, and then next time when you actually do those mudras, when you meditate, immediately they can change a state of consciousness. Scientifically speaking, these mudras, whenever you perform them, can actually immediately change your maybe brain. That's how they say as a scientist. In Buddhism, we don't talk so much about brain, but more consciousness, mind and heart. But Longchen, he sit like this, and this is you rest your hands on knees. This is known as a Semyil Ngalsu Shagya in Tibetan, the mudra of resting in the nature of a mind. Just like that, a very one line on the meditation guidance from the Dzogchen tradition. Usually teachers would say, now relax. And then finally they will say, rest in the natural state of your mind. Or sometimes they say, rest in the nature of mind, which is very similar. The mudra is called in Tibetan Semyil Ngalsu Shagya. Remember, mudra of resting in the nature of mind. And the way you do is when you rest your hands on knees, and simply you remind yourself to let go of all your effort, all your mental effort, let go of all your preconceived notions about what meditation might be, let go of all your effort trying to alter or manipulate your mind or your experience, as well as all the judgment and relationship to your experiences or your mind. You just simply let go of all your effort. You don't try to change your consciousness. You don't try to push anything away. You don't try to make anything happen. You just leave your mind as it is. Completely just be and relax. And feel that you are continuously allowing yourself to relax. Relax into your body and relax into the natural, the uncontrolled state of your consciousness, which is your mind, as it is right now. And then as you relax, thoughts will rise, so sensations, and then simply relax. And no need to concentrate on any particular object. Just to be, and then gently witness. You don't have to look at, you don't have to pay attention to anything, just gently witness whatever arises, especially your thoughts. When a thought arises, notice it. Whatever arises in your body or in your mind or outside, just witness all of them as they come to the field of your own awareness. Welcome all of them, and don't push anything away. Don't try to hold on to anything. Especially remember not to follow your thoughts. And then when you don't follow your thoughts, when you don't judge whatever arises in that field of your own awareness, which welcomes everything, and then there's only this awareness, this natural awareness, which is who you are, and then we may end up experiencing something so profound when we stay in that awareness, non-judging awareness, non-judging open awareness. We may come across profound peace, and we may come across unexpected wisdom, insight, and total end of suffering in that moment. And then sometimes our heart may open that we are able to let go of all our contraction, all our pain, all our resentment, anger, fear, and feel this is boundless love. And we may even come across this realization that this is who I am, this is my true nature. Now I know my true nature. This true nature that is a completely unconditioned, unborn, free from all the contractions. And it's almost like there's no more ego, there's no more sense of self. Like feel that you are finally arrived at your true home, true nature, your original face, your primordial ground. Thank you, everybody. Let me take maybe a few questions. If you have one or two questions, please. Oh yeah, Dzogchen meditation. Well, we already taught a little bit of Dzogchen meditation, the open awareness. Yeah, you can call it Dzogchen meditation, but usually in the Tibetan tradition, whenever you have the desire to learn Dzogchen meditation, and they recommend you to find a teacher who can teach you. It's not something we can learn easily from reading books. So they strongly recommend you to find a teacher, a Dzogchen teacher who can teach you. Oh yeah. You mean feeling as emotions, not like the physical sensations. Oh yeah, huh? Oh right. Yeah. That's a very wonderful question. Thank you for remembering what we talked about often when you have emotions, it feels that they're happening in your body. Do you feel that? They're all happening in your body, right? They all happen in your body, right? Like love or anger, they all are happening in your body. That's how we feel. And also, in the Tantric Buddhism, it teaches that we have all these old karmic seeds of these emotions. Of course, when we say emotion, we are talking about more kleshas or the kind of neurotic emotions. And they are already in our body, like such as maybe hatred, they're in our body, the seeds of these emotions in our body. And whenever we feel these emotions, not only they arise experientially in our body, but also maybe their seeds are already in our body. Yes, there's no doubt that lots of seeds of those emotions are consciousness, but they're also in our body as well. I think lots of things we experience come from our body in this incarnation, in this human incarnation. It's like sometimes have you ever had this kind of sense that you are feeling something, but you don't want to feel that, you see? Let's say you're feeling maybe, let's say, anger or jealousy. Let's say anger. And then there's part of you know, as a meditator, that you don't want to experience the anger. Have you ever had that moment? As a meditator, the anger is happening, and then part of you says, "Oh, this is not good. See, I'm a meditator, or I'm not supposed to have anger." Of course, there are moments we need anger. Anger is not a totally bad thing. Anger has a place in this life, but sometimes we can really just habitually allow ourselves to get really angry all the time when there's no any kind of good reason. And then anger, or you can use all other emotions, fear, anxiety. When they arises, there's a part of you, there's a wisdom part of you, wherever that levels, either in your body or consciousness, remind you, oh, now you're having this fear, now you're having anger. And part of you says, oh, maybe I should not be angry, but then the anger doesn't go away. It's like there are two people. Have you ever experienced that? There's one who you feels that, oh, I should not be having fear right now, but then body just feels fear. Totally, body feels fear. I spoke with some of the people who had a fear of darkness, and they know if you walk into darkness, nothing's going to happen, most probably. Their mind knows that darkness is okay, but then their body start shaking. You see, isn't this such a concrete example that sometimes those experiences and thought come from your body? They're not even coming with your conscious awareness. And then our mind, this kind of meditative mind, whatever you like to call, says, oh, now I'm having fear. Oh, maybe I should not have fear. Or maybe I should not have a jealousy, but I'm having really jealousy right now. Like, body doesn't listen to you, or the body does what it does, and you body feels really jealous, and then body try to pull you into it, and there's a part of you try not to get lost into that whole experience. See? There's a little bit of sometimes like tug of war between your conscious mind, your consciousness awareness, and then what is happening in your body as an emotion and so forth. Like, let's say maybe there's ice cream I'm not supposed to eat, but if there are lots of ice cream, perhaps my mouth starts salivating. My mind says, oh, don't do that. This is ice cream, not healthy for me. Does this happen to you sometimes? You see? Yeah. This is showing that lots of these experiences are rising from the body. That's when Tantric Buddhism, some teachers said the purification of a body is equally important as purification of the mind, and therefore they developed all these amazing, powerful techniques in Vajrayana Buddhism, how to work with your body, how to unblock all these very ancient evolutionary seeds, like karmic seeds of all these experiences. So my recommendation is that when those feelings arise in your body, but sometimes there's nothing really you can do, that's okay too. Sometimes you can kind of change them right away. There's few methods. One method is when they arise, is if you don't want to really indulge into them, and then you can always use like mantras, or you can use maybe some Tantric Buddhist method, breathing techniques or yogic disciplines, and to change that whole experience. Like, let's say if you're having lots of let's say fear or whatever, anger, one thing you can do is chant mantra immediately. If any of you chant mantra, it calms that experience down right away. Often, not always, like mantras such as Avalokiteshvara mantra. Avalokiteshvara is this bodhisattva, archetypal bodhisattva who symbolize the love, the boundless love. And in Tibetan culture, we chant that mantra all the time. The mantra goes Om Mani Padme Hum, which has 6 syllables. This is the very first words we teach our children almost. Maybe not very first word, but this is what we teach. Almost everybody grew up in Tibetan culture by learning that mantra at an early age, and they always chant. And that's how they cope emotions in my culture, except the meditators, because many people didn't know how to meditate in Tibet except the monks, lamas. But the human beings are human beings. As Tibetan people, we had all these powerful emotions as anybody else does. You see, fear, anxiety, hopelessness, despondency, anger, jealousy, just like any other human beings. So the way Tibetans, how they deal with these emotions as regular people, not as a meditative and all this tantric method, who had the fortune to spend whatever 3 years in monastery or cave, perfect all these techniques. Many of them are quite purified already. But the lay people, like nomads people, the peasants who didn't have that opportunity to learn and practice these very profound Buddhist techniques, the way they work with the emotions is actually through the mantras. That was the main method they used, and they didn't have any kind of drugs, chemicals in all the days. They didn't have any other method. I remember that we had sometimes worry in my culture, like worry in even my family I grew up. When we are worried, when there is some challenge being present in our life, I remember that all the people in my family and my relatives would chant the mantra. They sit together, Om Mani Padme Hum. Instead, turn on the TV, or maybe take some substance that kind of alters your brain for a while. They don't do that. They didn't have those even means. All they did was mantra. And then mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum, is name of Avalokiteshvara, who is the boundless love, who is the representation of boundless love. So people feel this love. They almost feel they are channeling this boundless love from within. And that love, experience of that love, that boundless love, sometimes or often actually quiet their mind and soothe their heart. So the fear, the anxiety, whatever they are going through will dissipate right there often. But as a meditator, You can use mantra, but if you don't use mantra, then just witness. That's all you need to just witness. Just witness. That's all you need to do. Witness whatever is happening. And don't run away. Just witness it. And now and then, just remind yourself to witness it. Because every time you witness it, you feel that you're kind of stepping back from the experience and simply just witnessing that experience while you're also completely one with that experience, but there's no more the ego who is really touched, who is totally lost in that experience. Then there's a sense of you who is not lost in it, who is the awareness that is witnessing. But that one who is witnessing is not some kind of self, another kind of self. There's not really another self than yourself. Or maybe there's no self after all. But the only name we give in Buddhism is your Buddha nature, or your pure awareness, or the Dharmakaya mind. It's another state. If we use word, it's another state of consciousness, that witness, and we can call it Buddha mind, innate wisdom. And that state of consciousness is not lost in whatever you're experiencing, and you simply witnessing. So there's part of it that's not lost while you're going through all these emotions. And this is extremely valuable method that you can use in everyday life. Oh, it's already 9 o'clock. Oh. Thank you, everybody. Okay, short question. Long question and short answer. How about that? I can give a long question, I give short answer. Oh man, now we're all family here. I hope that mantra completely calmed our heart, soothed our heart. So thank you so much for coming here, everybody.
Thank you all for listening. That talk was given in 2019 in Philadelphia to the Wisdom Seat community by Anam Thubten. We have several more recordings from Anam Thubten. Come check us out at thewisdomseat.org.